Hello, Taurus. Welcome to your weekly reading here on Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If you're watching this reading was meant to find you. Please hit the like button, leave a comment. Consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. Now, this is a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Taurus, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. 5 of Cups. Okay. You're somebody who, right now you're trying not to overly identify with your feelings day to day, right? We know that life is a roller coaster. The 5 of Cups is all about the movement of the emotions, how they come and go, like waves on the beach, right? There's just one after another. Some are good, some are not good. Some are pleasant, some are not pleasant. So we're trying not to really get too attached to any particular feeling, right? Try not to identify with our feelings. But at the same time, we have to recognize how we feel about things. Yeah. And this card could really be talking about a change in your heart. Yeah. Having a change of heart. This could be something that, even though there are unpleasant days, this is still something that you don't want to change your heart, right? So we need some context around this card, right? So let's do that. Let's put down our Dove and Serpent spread. 2 of Swords. I kind of cringe because it feels like maybe we're not sure what it means. Maybe we're not sure with that 2 of Swords. We're not sure if we should, we have these unpleasant feelings. And I know I'm not supposed to attach myself to them and identify with them, but I'm not going to ignore them either. So what do they mean? Does it mean that I don't want this anymore? Does it mean that I need to go? Does it mean that I don't feel the same way about this thing, a person, a place, a job, a purpose, whatever it is? You don't feel the same way anymore. I don't know for sure. We're kind of like, I don't know. Maybe I don't know how I feel. Yeah. Let's keep going. Got a Princess of Cups. Ace of Pentacles. 3. Okay. 3 of Swords. And Princess of Swords. A lot of princesses here. 2 princesses. New thoughts, new feelings, right? It kind of seems to me as if we're a bit nostalgic for the beginning of something. When you first started this, it felt like maybe it felt more hopeful. Maybe it felt as if there was more potential. There's no fire energy on the path of the dove. Maybe you're remembering the beginning when you did feel a little bit of fire. You felt the passion, right? This could be for your job. It could be for a relationship. It could be for a hobby, right? It could be for anything. And now we're not really sure what it means, but we know that we're maybe having more bad days than good at the moment. Okay. The princesses are indicating that there may be some new thoughts and feelings that are coming up here. Okay. But of course, Taurus, if there's anything you would like me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know. I apologize for my voice. It doesn't usually sound like this. Okay. Let's finish up our cards. Path of the Serpent. We got the Queen of Pentacles. Again, looking at the past. 3 of Wands. Trying to do the right thing. 9 of Swords. Trying to avoid really, sabotaging ourselves. Trying to avoid the wrong decision. Yeah. And the Queen of Cups, again, looking at the past. Yeah. So this feels like, there is a And maybe this is a good thing. It feels like we're sort of remembering. We're thinking back to the beginning of something. And maybe this process, because look, both of these queens and the Ace of Pentacles, this is our equilateral triangle. I think that's what it's called. It's a very auspicious points of the Dove and Serpent spread. This is a trinity that is intimately connected. Okay, your general energy, the outcome card, and of course the past. Right? And it could be that a lot of your time is being spent looking at the past, looking at how this began, looking back to the very beginning, the moment where you took that first step. And I wonder if this is actually stoking the fire. If that is bringing about a return of this zest energy, right? It's bringing back a return of this commitment, of this fire. I think it might be. Let's select our mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor, infinite and unknown. And we're just going to set it down right here. We're going to put Belschnickel right on top. Cheer or fear. Belschnickel is here. Okay. Now we're not going to look at that card until the end. It will tie everything together and give us our confirmation. If you have a prediction, by all means, put it in the comments down below. I need your help today, so help me with that mystery card, all right? Because my voice is really failing fast here. I've been a little under the weather. I'm okay, but it's just I talk so much. It's I'm exhausting my vocal cords, I guess. Anyway, enough of that. Let's look around the room. Interesting thing here. We don't have any major arcana energy. Where did it go? Right? I feel like what we're doing is trying to look back at the beginning. We're trying to summon that the source. We're trying to summon kind of like the essence of things. The beginning of the beginnings. We're trying to summon this origin, this singularity of purpose, of mind, of heart, of will, in order to get some fire back, in order to get the passion back, and maybe to bring about the spirit of the thing. In some ways, it feels as if that we've lost a little bit of the passion. It's kind of like we've lost the spirit of the work, and now it's just kind of like we're just doing the work. We've lost the real essence of it. And I think that's what we're getting back. Yeah. I think that's why your heart and it's interesting with the heart, right, with the water, and your body, your behavior, right, with the earth, looking back at the origin. And it's kind of like if we remember what we did back here that felt so good, what practices were we involved with? How were we living, right? What were we doing back here? What were our habits? What were our routines? Okay, if we can remember a time in our life where maybe the beginning of the relationship, the beginning of the job, the beginning of this work, right, whatever it is. If we can remember the beginning and what it felt like and how good it felt and how fired up you were and how zealous and enthusiastic you were and how much joy you felt, then you can remember what were you doing during that time in your life? Where were you working? Who were you talking to? What were you eating? What was your routine like? What were your habits, right? Where were you living and what kind of a climate was it, you know? Everything, all the things that you can remember. Because then what we may be able to do in the present moment, which is what the princesses are doing. The princesses are living in the present moment. What can we do now to sort of reboot this thing? Well, what your investigation into the past is revealing to you are those feelings and those habits and behaviors from back in the day that you can sort of employ now. Start doing some of those same things again. Did you have a particular morning routine that you liked? Wake up, tea, watching the sunrise, then perhaps yoga or meditation or exercise or stretching, or did you go for a walk in the early mornings, or these kinds of things? What were you doing back during this time? Doesn't have to be related to that particular thing, but just in your life generally. And this is the benefit of having a journal, that you can look back. Okay, November 5th, 1955, what was I doing? What kind of life was I living? Well, let me take some of those things, let me start doing them now. Maybe I need to drink the chai tea. Maybe I need to go for the walk in the morning. Maybe I need to listen to a certain type of music to get me in that state, right? Maybe this is a relationship with a person, and you could look back to the beginning of that relationship when the spirit was there, when the fire was there. What kind of things were you doing? Did you spend a lot of time together? Or was there distance and you really missed the person? Okay, and so when you would get together, what kind of things would you do? What things did you do separately? How much time did you spend away from that person, right? All these little details. Yeah. So we don't have any major arcana. That's because, Spirit is saying that you're perfectly capable of recovering what it is you think you've lost. I think it's that fire. I think it's that passion. I think it's this, the zeal and the enthusiasm for whatever this work is. Relationship, business, your job, your career, your school, your family, your life, whatever it is, right? So Spirit has kind of just absorbed into the table. And Spirit's saying, I'm here to support your decisions and your choices. Yeah. So we've got fire here. We've got water, water, water. Yeah, we got air, 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 and air. We got our earth cards here. So quite heavy on the air and the water, right? Because if the water is not so pleasant, right? If the water doesn't feel good, it affects how we think. And when we're thinking in a sort of negative or pessimistic way, we start to feel worse. And so it's just feedback loop. All right. And I think the Two of Swords now is us wondering, what can I do to sort of feel better about this life, or to have a better relationship with this thing or person? What can I do to really get fired up? What can I do to get the zest back? What can I do to get that aspiration back? The fire of that aspiration. Maybe the mystery card is going to be the Sun card. Yeah. Now, this is kind of a decision that we have to make, because we could say, well, I'm getting a lot of not so nice feelings. Maybe it means I just need to cut and run. Right? Maybe this is telling me something. Maybe this Five of Cups is saying that, yeah, I'm not feeling it right now, so maybe I just need to get out. Maybe it's not for me anymore. Right? And when we start to think and feel that, we get sad because we want that thing to be for us again. I don't want to leave it, Sometimes in my life I felt that way about my particular spiritual pursuits. And I just felt like with my meditative practice, and I'd feel like I'm just not feeling it. I don't enjoy it. The passion is gone. The fire, the aspiration is gone. And then I think, well, maybe it's Spirit's way of telling me that that time of my life is over. I'm not meant for that anymore. But then when I start to think about that, I get really sad because I don't want to leave that behind. I don't want to not have that in my life, right? And that right there is the key. This thinking about leaving this thing, or putting it down, or, thinking of it as just a phase, and now I'm living a different life now. How does that make you feel? Well, I would guess it makes you feel worse. Yeah. The pain of division is worse than the pain of kind of sticking with something, and pushing through those melancholy days or the unpleasant feelings. Yeah. Because sometimes with the Three of Swords, we think so much about the past that we think it used to be so much better. I remember 20 years ago, I was so in love with my work or my practice or whatever. And I felt such enthusiasm and such zeal. I just could not wait to get up in the morning and do it, And it starts to feel as if we can't have that ever again. Yeah. But then when we think about cutting it out of our life and just saying, okay, I guess I'm just done with that sort of life, or that person, or that hobby, or that job, or that study, or that career, or maybe it's an interest that you've had or whatever. Maybe it's for life in general. The thought of leaving it behind is infinitely worse than these waves of unpleasant feelings that we get, the roller coaster of a time that we may be experiencing right now. Because I don't feel that this is so severe, right? Because again, these are waves of emotion, and I just maybe feel as if you're having a rough patch in this particular situation, but it's leading you to question things. Now, underneath the surface, perhaps this is the dormant feeling, right? This is kind of like that feeling is still in there. If you felt it once, and I think that feeling is one of, it's just intense love, desire, right? That passion, that enthusiasm. It matches up with our fire energy here, these two cards. The positions here are very connected in the Dove and Serpent spread. And if you felt something once, you can feel it again, right? And so we know that's in there somewhere. And the idea here is to just sort of, to let it come to the surface. And I think that we can do that by looking at the past and remembering what sort of things we were doing, and let's recreate that in our behaviors. Okay? Just habits of life. What were you thinking about? What were you doing? What were your habits and routines? What were you eating for breakfast? What was your beverage of choice? And think back to that happiest time of your life. Right? Whatever that Ace of Pentacles is. Think back to that, to when this all began, and it was sort of perfect. What were you doing? Who were you? Yeah. And I think that with these two cards, they're going to get together. The heart and the mind are going to get together. And we're going to try some experiments. We're going to do some new things. If back in the day here, you used to wake up and have a bowl of Rice Krispies, we'll try that again. If you used to wake up at a certain time of the day, perhaps before everybody else woke up so you could just have your tea and stand outside in the pre-dawn moments, try it again. Build that habit up again, right? Because I strongly believe that we can invoke the same feelings by doing the same behaviors. Just as our behaviors can invoke feelings, our feelings can invoke behaviors, right? They're reinforcing. So the more we sort of feel dejected in our lives, the more we sort of just, I'm not going to bother with the Rice Krispies, it changes our behaviors. So the opposite is true as well. You put yourself into the habits of that success or that vibrant, vital energy. And then just pretty soon you'll start feeling it. Okay? Whereas maybe before you felt it first, and then it sort of influenced your behaviors. But now we're just sort of working backwards, right? We're reversing the current. But the Ace of Pentacles in the background here, I don't know what this was exactly for you. This could be, that first day on the job. This could be the first month or year of the relationship. This could be your first step upon your spiritual path. And the more it unfolds, it becomes more complex. You go through more experiences, and life or experience has a way of grinding us down. Yeah. So maybe we have to reconnect with this vital source, this unity, in order to get that back. And now I think the Three of Swords up here at the top is just kind of like things are feeling worse. You're somebody who understands the power of your mind. Okay? You understand the power of thinking. If we think the thoughts, then we feel the feelings. If we feel the feelings, they're going to influence our thoughts. Okay? It's the mindset of success. If you have constant negative thinking, we're going to be constantly producing negative things. We're going to be producing more negative feelings. If we're thinking positive thoughts, right? If we're being optimistic, if we're thinking productively, constructively, successfully, then we're going to start feeling that, You think happy thoughts, pretty soon you're feeling happy feelings. And it's really, maybe it seems inauthentic, because we're talking too with the Five of Cups about honoring how we feel. I feel unpleasant. I feel this is not having good days in this situation. We're not trying to deny that. We're trying to be proactive though. Okay. So over here on the path of the Serpent, as we get to our Queen of Pentacles, we're looking back at our past behaviors. Those moments of your life where you felt the most happy, the most productive maybe, right? Now you have to apply this to your life and how it resonates for you. Maybe this is about productivity. Maybe this is about success, money. Maybe this is about happiness, or about the feeling of aspiration, of spiritual love, of devotion, of passion, of zest, of zeal, right? Whatever it is. Looking back to those moments of success and trying to remember what your habits were, what your thoughts were, what the feelings were, what your activities were. What did you eat for breakfast? What kind of shoes did you wear? You know what I mean? What were you doing? And that's where journals really come in handy. Because we could distill those journal entries and say, oh, okay, well, back there, it was a pretty good time in my life. There were probably challenges back then too, but back then, I had this particular schedule of meditation. Okay, maybe that means that I need to try to enforce that in my life now. And maybe doing that consistently for a little while will help to generate these very good feelings underneath. Maybe this is a business thing. Maybe it's like, okay, well, back when I was really making a lot of money, what was I doing? Well, I was saving a lot. I wasn't spending much money. I was living a very modest lifestyle. Okay, yeah. I was getting up early, and I was drinking a glass of water, and I was going for a walk around the block every morning in that time of my life when I was really making a lot of money. Okay, maybe I'll do that now too. I'll start doing those things. It doesn't have to be directly related. Drinking a glass of water in the morning doesn't mean you're going to make more money that day, So it's an indirect connection that we're looking for too. Because it's about setting up the similar kind of conditions and in some ways than asking Spirit to give us a little bit of luck to create the same results, as this previous time that we're referencing. So the Queen, anyway, is always looking at the past to try to find that wisdom that we can apply to the present. The Three of Wands, of course, we're trying to do the right thing. And I think you're in this dilemma with this Two of Swords. Should I just leave it behind? Should I quit? Should I break up? Should I leave this thing or not? What's the right thing to do? Well, we also have to look at the Three of Wands in connection with the Three of Swords. In some ways, this is the will that has to override the mind. The mind sometimes thinks that it's the boss, It's not. The will, the spirit, the fire energy is the top of the hierarchy, right? And the fire energy, of course, is taking all of its instruction from spirit. See, in the Hermetic sciences, fire is sort of doubles for spirit. Fire and spirit kind of interchangeable in a way. So the fire energy, the will, your attention, your concentration, has to override that mental energy. And you have to be able to direct your thoughts. And even though we feel this way, we know that to leave this thing or quit this thing or to forget about it or to leave it in the past and not pursue it is a mistake. It's a mistake that's born out of this melancholy, that's born out of this sort of sorrow. And I think we're sad because we're not feeling as good about this thing as we once did. We're sad about being sad, right? We're sad about not being happy. It's kind of a weird thing. So I think that your understanding to lose this thing in your life is going to be the real despair. Nine of Swords. That is a poisonous thought. That this is gone. That this is never. You're never going to feel anything for that ever again. Right? We're going through a rough patch. That's okay. I think Spirit's telling you that you've got to give this everything you've got. You've got to try everything you can to be to commit to this again, to get that fire back. Okay. I apologize for having to hit the cough button so many times today. The Nine of Swords is a very painful card. But sometimes this is what we need. This is kind of like the prospect of losing this thing. This hurts way more than just the day-to-day sort of unpleasantness that that we're feeling, right? This hurts way more than a Five of Cups. Yeah. So I feel like the decision now is pretty clear. You're being told to give this everything you've got. That this is going to be a wealth of joy and love and happiness for you. We're in a lull. We're in a rough patch. We're in the trough, right? We're going to come back to the crest of the wave. But if we gave up now, I think that we're doing ourselves a major disservice. If we gave up now, I think that's something we would regret for a long time, whether this is a business thing, whether this is your spiritual practice, whether this is your relationship, your family, your hobbies, your school, whatever it may be. Don't give up on it, right? It's a gold mine, right? It really is going to be, it's everything. It matters to you so much that just the thought of not having it in your life, I think causes so much despair that you're like, well, there's no way that I could be without this thing. Yeah. Now we have to be careful about codependence, though, as well. Okay. Especially if this is a person or a particular thing, that it's kind of like can't live with it, can't live without it. All right? We got to be careful about that. It's a fine line. And that, I think, is where our Queen of Cups comes into it. We have to be very honest with ourselves. This is the card of emotional transparency. Radical self-honesty. Emotional honesty, emotional transparency. Radical self-love. Because I don't think Spirit's trying to tell you what to do. There's no major arcana cards here. I'm sure as heck not telling you what to do. You've got to search within and ask yourself if this is something that is, if it's a rough patch, if this is still so meaningful to you that the rough patch is something that you're willing to endure. Or if the pain of the complete severance is a pain that you have to endure because this is not meant for you anymore. I have my personal opinion based on these cards. I feel as if this is something that is a core element of your life. And we're trying to find a way to bring back the real happiness, the aspiration, and the enthusiasm of it, the passion for it. Right? Because I don't think that you're seriously entertaining the idea of just letting it go forever. Yeah. It's kind of like me with playing drums, you know. I haven't played in a while. I'm sad that I don't feel the joy of playing it. But I can imagine really, really loving it again, you know. But I feel like this is something a little bit more important than that, obviously. But this, too, is a card of looking at the past. All the queens look at the past. So you're looking at the past and you're remembering how it felt when you were back here really doing this. What were you doing in the rest of your life? What were you doing in other areas of your life? Again, this sort of trinity, this equilateral triangle, is what it's all about. Let's look at the mystery card. Thank you, Belschnickel. My wife donated Belschnickel to our channel here as a sort of early holiday gift. If you have a prediction for this card, please put it in the comments down below. I'm kind of thinking it's going to be Wheel of Fortune. I'm thinking it may be the Empress card. I feel like it's going to be a major arcana. Or a Nine of Cups. Yeah. But I don't know. See, then it could be fire energy too. Sort of feeling that. Let's just see what we've got. A Page of Pentacles. Another princess, in fact, right? Because the princesses are the pages in the other deck. So we have the Princess of Cups, Princess of Swords, and the Princess of Pentacles. And these are all cards that are focused on right now. You've looked at the past, you've felt everything, you examined the past, and now we're trying to do those things. We're trying to recreate the feelings, the thoughts, and the deeds right now in the present moment. Whatever you were doing back at this time, do those things again, think those thoughts again, we'll feel those feelings again. And I think that we'll get, again, with the kind of a confirmation with the 3, we'll get that aspiration back. We'll get that zeal back. Okay? And in some ways, the pages or the princesses are sort of starting from the bottom. And it's kind of like, let's go back all the way to the beginning. Let's pretend that this is our first day here. Let's do the same things. Let's have that same fresh-faced, wide-eyed, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed outlook. Let's put ourselves right back to the beginning and pretend that this is the first time that we're doing this. Look back in your journals at like your first day doing this thing, or in this relationship, or at this job. And just recreate that same heart, mind, body, thinking, feeling, behavior. Okay? Put ourselves back in that successful frame. Yeah. And this is going to be really good for you. Now, we're going to do an extended reading as well. If you want to stick around for that, there's a link in the corner. Okay? New readings for Taurus on Mondays and Fridays. Be sure to watch both readings. I don't usually sound like this. This is bad, and I apologize. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. It is totally free. It doesn't cost anything. Leave a comment and let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we're all in this